on, guys? Gone in 60 here, back at it with another video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today I'm actually going to be sharing with you guys what it is like to drive a manual Dodge Challenger Scat Pack on a daily basis. So I'm going to be giving you guys my perspective. I'm also going to be showing you guys actual views of me driving the car so you can see what it's like to shift when we're in traffic, what kind of gears work best, because I think what you guys will find is it's actually very doable to drive a manual Challenger, doesn't matter what model that you guys have, in traffic on a daily basis. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, leave a like, leave a comment, heck, leave a thumbs down, I don't care. Engage with the video, guys. Thank you guys for all of you do, and we'll jump right into it. Hey guys, what's going on? Just wanted to kind of give you guys a little drive along. Want to share with you guys my perspective on what it's like to drive this car on a daily basis. As well as I also wanted to show you guys the footage of maybe me shifting gears, maybe the different speeds, the different RPMs, because I think kind of the misconception I think a lot of people have is when you drive a manual car, especially something with this much power, it's really kind of difficult to control. But what I want to be able to show you guys is because the car has so much power, you really don't have to shift as much as you think you would with the car. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But first, I just want to talk about, hey, what it's like to drive this car on a daily basis. And honestly, it's great. You know, I enjoy driving it. You know, granted, with COVID and everything, I've only put about 6,500 miles on my car this year. Before all of it happened, I had about a round trip of about 40 miles a day in terms of my daily commute. So definitely not bad. One thing that I will say is no matter how bad of a day you have at the office, when you jump in the car, when you fire it up, when you start shifting through the gears, maybe when you get on it a little bit to get on the freeway, it's phenomenal, and it can cure just about any day that you're having at the office. So first and foremost, if you're worried about gas, if you're worried about all of that other stuff, then this isn't the video for you, because I'm not going to get too much into the weeds on that. But the car definitely is wider than probably most cars you've ever driven. I will say that. It is longer than most cars that you've ever probably driven. I still have a challenge with my depths on this car. And what I mean by that is the front of the car is extremely long. And when I pull into spots, you know, I definitely don't want to just hit the curb kind of when I pull it in. So I definitely notice that I'm still getting used to, even after a year of owning it, how far I can back up to and how far I can pull into a spot. That is probably the biggest challenge, because I don't want to break kind of my front splitter, if you guys will. And in my garage, I actually installed a tennis ball so I don't pull into my garage too far, because I've just noticed on this car, the depths, it's really hard to get used to. It's really long. And so from that standpoint, I wouldn't say it's ideal. You know, if you need a car that has a really tight turning radius, this isn't the one. It definitely doesn't do too bad, but it is a bigger car. It's heavy. It doesn't move side to side very easily. But those are just a few things that I would mention to you guys. You know, if you're going through a drive-through somewhere, you know, definitely I'm very anxious and cautious of, you know, how close I'm getting to the curb and everything like that. But honestly, other than that, it's really good. The car is very sturdy. It's actually very comfortable. Even with the cloth seats that I have, it's very comfortable. It's, you know, it rides really well. It's not too stiff. It's not too soft in terms of the suspension. I had a G35 Infiniti before I bought this, and this car is night and day, just way more comfortable to drive than that. They have plenty of space. I've talked about that in some of the other videos. You know, in terms of gas mileage, you know, I get at best about 23.5 when I'm on the freeway. Now granted, that's if I'm going over 100 miles, which I don't typically do on a daily basis. Today I might hit that because I'm running up north for a business meeting that I have, so I might hit 100 miles today, but I'll probably average 23, 24 miles to the gallon. That's if I put it in 6th gear and I'm not rodding it. On a daily basis, I'm getting anywhere from 14 to 17, just depending on how hard I drive it. But my Infiniti I had before this, it was an 08, and it didn't have the newer transmissions that they put in it. And that car would average around 18 to 19 miles per gallon on the freeway and maybe get 21, 22. So I don't notice a difference at all. And that car required premium gas. This car requires premium gas. So from my experience, I haven't noticed hardly really much of a difference at all. And so just being able to drive it, very comfortable. It's the winter time. We're getting colder here in Utah. I turn on my auto comfort mode, which when it's above 40 degrees, it turns on my heated seat, turns on my heated steering wheel, and I love that. The car is great to drive, the sounds, everything. As you guys have maybe seen in some of my other videos, I have added a subwoofer to it. The speaker systems on these cars are lacking, so if you're more into not just listening to the sound of your exhaust all the time and you want some music that sounds a little bit decent, I recommend checking out my video where I installed a JBL powered subwoofer. So just the overall experience in driving it, it's awesome. When you pass another Mopar owner on the road, they flash their lights, they give you a thumbs up. Car gets a lot of attention, and it's a blast. I love driving this on a daily basis, and the other reasons that people might not want this is because the gas, or driving a manual. Those aren't concerns to me. Those aren't issues. The car does just a phenomenal job. I'm a huge fan of these cars, and so for driving it on a daily basis, it's totally doable. I am looking to do a video where I am going to show you guys what it's like to drive one of these suckers in the snow. I had one of my followers on Instagram share with me pictures of why he got the Challenger GT model, the all-wheel drive. And guys, I realize these are rear-wheel drive cars. It doesn't make sense to really drive these a lot in the snow. It just doesn't. I grew up in Idaho, so and I had rear-wheel drive cars and trucks that I drove that were manuals, so I am more comfortable in driving in the snow. It doesn't make me an expert, but I'm waiting for it to snow here again in Utah, and I'm gonna take you guys out for a spin and show you what it's like. But in today's world, if the road conditions are that bad for me to get into work, guess what? I'm working from home. Because if it's gonna even no matter what car I'm driving, say it's an all-wheel drive SUV, even if I had that and it's going to take me over an hour to get to work, for me it doesn't matter to me what car I'm driving. If it's going to take me that long to get to work, I'm going to work from home. And I think now more than ever, I think a lot of companies you're going to be seeing selling their office spaces, which has already happened, and people work from home. So those are some of my experiences of what it's like to drive the car. I just struggle with the depths. I struggle with parking still a little bit, but in terms of driving it around the road, I have zero complaints. Very comfortable, very smooth ride. I love it. Dodge has done a phenomenal job with these cars, and the features they have, just how functional they are, they're great. So what I'm going to do now is I actually want to flip the camera around, strap on the GoPro. I'm going to share with you guys some different clips of me driving maybe in traffic, either on the freeway, maybe just kind of driving around town, and just show you guys what it's like, what kind of the gear selections I go through, and the RPMs, because the point that I want to make is these cars have so much power that I have driven other cars that are 4 cylinders that are honestly much more of a pain to drive in traffic than this car is. So can't wait to show you guys this. So we're going to jump into it, and I'm going to give you guys my perspective from kind of a point of view drive and what it's like shifting through the gears and driving it. All right guys, we are rolling. So just sitting here at a stoplight. I'll try and give you guys some angles of me shifting gears, but sometimes with starting out in first and even second, this car will start out in first, second gear pretty easily. Third it can do, but it's kind of tough to do. So it's really easy to drive this car, I feel like, from a manual perspective. So for example, like right here, I'm in 4th gear and I'm doing about 44. If I wanted to step on it, There is no lag whatsoever. So I don't need to shift down to third or second. If that was a 4-cylinder car, I would be probably in second or third gear right now. But right now I'm just chilling in 4th gear, and I could even come up right now to 5th gear. And yeah, there's not as much power readily available, but it's really easy to do. This guy's pissed that this guy just got in front of him. I love it. So yeah, you can start off in 1st, start off in 2nd. 3rd is tough. If you're driving in the winter, 2nd and 3rd gear is all I would ever start out in. And I would be very cautious of how much power you're putting down. I have had times where the embarrassing moments of I stall it, and that's never fun for anyone, but I usually, to humor the people behind me, usually smoke my tires after I start it. So it kind of makes me feel a little bit better about myself. But it is embarrassing sometimes, and obviously on a hill, if you guys have driven manuals, a little harder, so sometimes I ride the clutch a little bit more. But yeah, we're gonna jump kind of up on the freeway here in just a second, if I can get around this guy, and just share with you guys what it's like. But the power that this car has and the low end torque makes these things really easy and friendly to drive, really in any kind of condition. So, you know, just going kind of around the corner here, just in 2nd gear. Oh yeah, just awesome. Love that these cars are so great to get on the freeway with. Makes it really easy. But when you're on the freeway, and you know, right now I'm going about 75, you really will never, hardly ever get down to 4th gear. You're pretty much going to stay in 5th gear. So right now I'm in 5th gear. I'm at about 3,000 RPMs. I'm going to kick it down into 6th gear, which puts me below 2,000 RPMs. And I could slow down to 60 and I could resume my speed. So right now I'm at 70 and I'm just resuming it. Now, if you're trying to race someone and I'm in 6th gear, you're not going to have hardly any power available. But just being in 6th gear, I pretty much could just stay in this most of my drive up north, and that's what makes this just so amazing to drive from a manual perspective. I'll shift it back up into 5th gear to kind of give you guys an idea. You know, you can start to hear it a little bit more. There's more power. Here's 4th gear. So you can see 4th gear. Like if I was ready to party and really get on it, that would probably be about the sweet spot, maybe 3rd gear. But you guys can see you don't really need that. Really, you're gonna spend most of your time, like I am right now, in 5th gear, and it's got plenty of power available. If I needed to pass someone, like say I'm gonna go around this guy on the right, I got plenty of power here in 5th gear, and it's pulling just fine. Shift it into 6, we're good. So it's really easy to just drive on the freeway, and even daily driving is really easy. Daily driving, I probably spend just kind of going through the city most of my time in probably 3rd and 4th gear. 5th gear going around 40, 50 miles an hour is a little tougher. It can do it, but when you're on the freeway, unless you're getting on the freeway, you really will never need 4th gear unless you're really needing to get around someone in a hurry. Maybe even 3rd gear, but that would really be screaming high in the RPMs. You basically need 5th and 6th gear when you're on the freeway, and it'll do everything that you need. You know, 6th gear right now, if I need to step on it just a little bit and go a little bit faster, it's there. And that's what makes it so awesome to drive. When I've gotten into traffic, I wish I could show you guys a traffic situation right now, but when I've been in traffic before, you know, especially on the freeway, I'll leave it in 1st gear and kind of just use the RPMs to slow the car down, and I'll try and time it where I'm not having to push in the clutch. And I think that's kind of a trick that you guys kind of need to learn. You can kind of do it in 1st and 2nd gear when you're stuck in traffic, say on the freeway, say things speed up. My goal is obviously to not have to press in the clutch as much, because it can make your leg tired over time. But I try and just have it in 1st and 2nd gear and run kind of the sweet spot of the RPMs and just let the car kind of nudge itself up. And I time the timing. People behind me might not like it, but I try and make sure there's a big enough gap between me and the car ahead of me to be able to have enough distance to where I can kind of coast for a little bit in 1st or 2nd gear without having to step on the clutch. So traffic on the freeway, you know, if you're doing that for 30-40 minutes, yeah, you're gonna build up some big calf muscles, but if you time it right, it's not too bad, guys. So anyways, that's kind of my perspective of driving it, what it's like, what gears I use, whether on the freeway, off the freeway. If you guys are looking into a manual, I highly recommend it. I just think someday you're not going to be able to buy manual transmission cars. I do. I think everything's going the electric route, and so I'm not trying to persuade you doing one over the other. I just really love a manual for what these cars are. These cars drive like an old muscle car, but quieter, smoother, and when you get above 90 miles an hour, the car doesn't drift all over the place. And that's the beauty of these cars, and what Dodge has done is it drives like an old muscle car, and very user-friendly, very awesome to drive. If you are looking probably for something that shifts quicker, a little bit faster, the automatics are probably the better route to go. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do daily drive a Dodge Challenger, what are some of your tips and tricks? You know, what do you guys do? You know, I know a lot of people carry with them some detailing products like Optimum No Rinse, or Speed Shine from like Griot's Garage, where you guys, if you have any drops on your car from a bird or anything you guys need to clean up, those are some tips that people try and bring with them as a daily driver to try and keep their car clean, which I think is a great recommendation. But share with me in the comments below, what kind of tips and tricks are you guys using to daily drive these cars? Thank you guys for all your support on the channel. Hope you guys liked today's video, and we'll catch you next time.